No showing stories or
Showing up with clients to a property that's tenant occupied, and this guy answers the door in his red boxers with white hearts and no shirt, and we just woke him up from a nap and he's fine letting us in, and we're really not sure if we want to go in or not.
I think what's funny is what stands out is the white hearts in the red
Yes, I will
shirts.
never forget that.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's one heart, one shot. Now the future is yours. Go. I'm turning dreams into reality. In the love.
Welcome back to the Compass Studio. I have a great guest today. Megan Beauvais is with me. I can't wait to have a conversation. Welcome.
Thank you.
We've chatted a little bit here and there, but we haven't really sat down and had a real discussion.
That's right.
We're going to do it right now.
Sounds great.
And you're excited.
So excited.
You're not nervous at
A
all.
little bit nervous.
Okay. Well, let me give you a very non-nervous question.
Okay.
Where did you grow up?
Oh my gosh, my heart's beating fast. I grew up between San Diego and Northern California, Santa Rosa. So when people ask me that question, I usually just say I'm a Californian.
A California.
Yep.
Why? What was the reason for back and forth?
My mom's family was from San Diego. My mom was a native San Diegan. And my father's family was up in a little town called Santa Rosa that's now a larger town. And so I moved up there when I was about 12 and lived up there throughout my adolescence. So I consider both towns my hometown.
Your hometowns. I'm going to guess that which one is your favorite by where you ended up? Does it work that way?
Oh,
How
that's
did
a
you end
trick
up?
question.
Your family might see this video, you know.
That's right. So Santa Rosa has my heart, I have to say, but San Diego has been my home for the last 18 years. I ended up here because I had the fortune of marrying somebody from outside of this country. And when we got married, he could not travel outside of the country for our honeymoon. So I ended up taking him on a trip down the coast of California to show him my hometowns. And destination was San Diego.
That's a great way to spend it. That's a honeymoon?
Yes,
After the
it was
wedding?
our honeymoon.
People talk about going away, and we have so much. California is so beautiful. And the coast, you did the whole Highway 1 type
The
thing?
entire California coast.
Well, no wonder he fell in love with it. That's fantastic.
Yeah,
So you ended up in San Diego. Do you get back up to Santa Rosa very often?
very often as I can.
Yeah.
Yeah, several times a year. All of my family's still up there.
Your heart really is up there,
It
isn't
really
it?
is.
So you settle here. You're married. What are you doing for a living?
Well, I sell real estate.
Did you start? That was your beginning career?
No, I worked for real estate agents when I was in high school and college. And then when I was 19, I went to France for a year, which is where I met my husband. And I came back and went back to school and worked for a couple brokerages up in Santa Rosa for a couple of years, but I really had the international bug, having been abroad for a while. So I switched gears completely because I thought I would never want to be a real estate agent. Why would I want to do that? I went into international marketing with a student exchange firm. So I did that for 7 years
Wow.
prior to moving down here to San Diego. And at that point, I had 2 little ones, and I thought I needed to do something where I could have a little bit more freedom and make a bit more money, and be my own boss. And real estate seemed like the perfect fit.
It really is, isn't it? For that situation especially. Take me back to international marketing. Is that what you
Yes.
said?
Yes.
What does that actually mean? What did you do?
So I marketed our student exchange programs to our partners abroad that we did business with. So I worked heavily with the Japanese companies and with Chinese companies and French companies and German companies, working with short-term and academic year student exchange. It was very gratifying.
I can imagine. And was it all phone, or did you get to travel to these places?
I got to travel. I went to a conference one time in Greece. That was really awesome.
Wow.
I went to Japan and China, and I had already been to France. So it's always fun going to France.
I'm scared to ask languages. You polymath? Is that the right word? What? How many? Do you speak more than 2 languages? I assume you speak French.
I'm fluent in French, and I can get by in Spanish. So I would just say I'm bilingual.
But that gets you through a lot of countries. Between
does.
English, French, and Spanish, you're
It
going to cover a
does.
lot of ground.
It does.
What was your favorite part about Greece?
Oh my gosh, just the incredible visuals that you wake up to every day. It's so breathtaking.
Really?
It's just, it's kind of like if you've ever been to the Grand Canyon, and you build it up in your mind, and you're like, oh gosh, I've seen postcards of the Grand Canyon my entire life. It's going to be nothing, and you get there, and it's just awe-inspiring, and it was like that everywhere in Greece. I was right on the beach at the hotel, and it was gorgeous.
You know, that's not in my top list. I've never really thought about it, but it sounds like that's a vacation that has to be had.
I wasn't there on vacation, so I don't know.
No, not you, me.
Yes.
It's that amazing that
Yeah.
people should go there on vacation.
It's beautiful.
Okay, so we're back in San Diego. You have 2 kids. You're thinking, I need more flexibility, and I need to still make money.
Yes.
So now you're thinking about doing the thing you said you never wanted to do.
That's
You're going to
right.
real estate because it fit the bill.
That's right.
At what point you're doing real estate and things are happening, but there's a lot of fear. Real estate agents, certainly in the beginning. At some point you realize, I'm making it. This is a career. I'm doing it. How long did that take, would you say?
So I did a lot of soul searching and a lot of interviewing with some of my past mentors that I had worked with before I decided to take the leap.
Great resource.
Initially, I thought I just was going to be an assistant because of the constraints I had with the kids. And I remember I interviewed with a very prominent agent. She is retired now. And I sat with her for about an hour, and she looked at me and she said, Megan, I think you would be a fantastic assistant, but you're going to leave me in 6 months. You need to just go be an agent. So I literally got shut down by her, and so I consulted with a few more people because I was extremely nervous. You know, you need to be prepared not to make any money for 6 months, which is what they told me at the time. And I took that to heart. But ultimately, I decided to take the leap, and it was really fun running into her on Caravan and just out in the field over the years. And I always have her to thank for getting into this business.
Wow. She knew you were going to be good. And so she was honest. If I hire, you'll be great at what I'm hiring you for, but you won't stay here because you're going to be a great agent. Do you think she knew? So you're not going to brag, but she does a lot of production. You're a very, very successful agent. Do you think she knew how good you were going to be?
I don't know. Do we ever know how good we're going to be?
You might know someone else. I'm wondering if she saw in you and said, oh my gosh, she's going to end up where you are, which is top producer in the county.
I hope so.
And is she still, do you see her from time to time? Is she still here?
No, she moved out of state. She moved out of state just a couple years ago, but
I love that story. I love that she gave you that's really what you needed. No, this isn't for you. You're too good.
yeah.
Oh, that's a great story. So now you've been doing it for a while. What do you like best about being a real estate agent?
I think what I like best, it's going to sound so cliche, but is the help that I get to provide to people who I think otherwise might end up with somebody else who won't take as much care, who won't truly watch out for them. I often find myself working with single women who've never bought a home before, or who are newly single, doing this on their own in a world where often traditionally men have taken the lead on the business side. And I take special pride in really watching out for them and making sure that they are educated about the process from beginning to end and beyond. And helping them after they close escrow, providing resources to them, because they don't often come with a list of handymen and painters and any of those resources.
things they need.
So really just serving as a resource for them.
it's something I was told about you was, obviously you're known for, but it's the relationship, right? You're not, when you're done with a transaction, that means nothing to you. It continues for a long, long time. It's resource driven, but I heard a couple people say it's like friendships. Like you have friendships with every client, and it just continues on. It just grows.
I do. In fact, I'm having happy hour tonight with some friends, and I would say the only awkwardness that comes from that is I never know if I'm supposed to introduce them as my clients or my friends, because it often becomes both.
Kind of a good problem to have.
Yeah.
Yeah. What percentage of your business would you say is referral based?
I would say about 90% of my business.
90%.
Yeah.
Maybe the best compliment you can get in real estate is that your entire business is basically people you've worked with saying, "Oh, you've got to work with her."
It is, and it's been interesting because I started in the business farming, the community that I love and lived in for many years, Talmadge here in San Diego, and I did that. My business came exclusively from farming for probably the first 10 years. And then I started really developing my referral business, working the Buffini program, which I found that I inherently was already following his teachings, if you will. That's probably not a good way to put it.
Well, so for people who don't know, what's a Buffini program? What's that mean?
Buffini just teaches you how to develop your referral source. He teaches you to make sure that you're nurturing relationships, and I found that I was already doing that just organically. So it really was in alignment with my overall business practice.
It really spoke to you.
It really did. And so what has happened as a result is I've been farming these communities for so many years. And so I get referrals from people that I don't know as a result of my farm, but I also, of course, have referrals from many of my past clients and friends. So I feel like I've got the best of both worlds.
You know, it's funny. People don't realize. It sounds organic. Well, you have a lot of friends. You meet people and you develop relationships. But what someone like Buffini is teaching is the nuts and bolts of, like, how do you maintain that without being salesy, without becoming a marketing, because it's not easy. I mean, there's friendship, and then there's friendship that's also, you want people to remember you when real estate comes up, which they're not involved in at all. And so we do need help knowing how to do that kind of thing while keeping the friendship genuine.
We do. Yeah, and I can't say I do everything that Buffini recommends because to me some of it does sound a little bit salesy. But I think sometimes if you just kind of think or act light of it, people, like I can joke about it. And people kind of get it. They know that I'm genuine and I'm authentic, and they're not going to get any sales pitch out of me.
Right. Just like here, we're going to get authentic you.
That's right.
Okay, speaking of authentic, tell me something in real estate that you don't care for too much. Is there a part of being an agent that you aren't fond of?
Yes. I hate schlepping my signs. The one great thing that came out of this pandemic was that we didn't have to do open houses. I loved the open houses. I just hate schlepping the signs.
You know, I'm surprised. I'm hearing that in a number of interviews. And I keep thinking there's got to be people out there that you can pay to put signs out in an open house. Is it too expensive?
No, not at all. There are people out there. The problem is I'm very particular about sign placement. So getting it just right is really important.
That's one of those things that's hard for you to let go of.
It is.
Yeah. Okay, I understand
One
that.
of many.
If there were new agents here, and maybe that would be the advice. Sometimes you have to let go, but you were going to either share some secret or maybe it's you know what I wish I had known or done earlier on. What would you tell them?
I get asked that question a lot, and the one thing that I wish that I would have known was to get a bookkeeper and get your financials squared away right up front. Probably for the first 5 years, I was chasing my taxes because I didn't know how to plan for that. I found myself making a great income, but I didn't know how to plan for getting my expenses paid and getting the taxes paid on time and how to budget for all that. So that's my one piece of advice.
As someone who coaches, and right now we're teaching business planning, I love that advice. When we start showing agents, and maybe this is good for the public to know too, you think you got paid this, but you did not.
Yeah.
Because this big chunk goes off to business expenses, this big chunk goes to the IRS, this little bit, this is actually what you got paid.
Yeah, I always say 50% of your commission check, you're lucky enough to get to keep.
Yeah, if you can keep that, that's
right.
Fantastic. I love that. So you've been doing this a while, and you have a lot of clients. Do you have any funny stories? Any?
I don't.
No showing stories or funny.
Oh my gosh, just some awkwardness. You know, showing up with clients to a property that's tenant occupied, and this guy answers the door in his red boxers with white hearts and no shirt, and we just woke him up from a nap and he's fine letting us in, and we're really not sure if we want to go in or not. I mean, that unfortunately is commonplace.
Really?
Yes.
I think what's funny is what stands out is the white hearts.
Yes. I will never forget that.
That's fantastic. What would your friends say if they were here? If I said, what does Megan do all day? I mean, really, what does she do all day? What do you think they would say?
Well, I can tell you that my kids and my family would say that I'm on the phone all the time. I'm talking all the time.
Always on the phone.
Always on the phone.
It's hard to get private time.
It is, but I think that's something that my clients appreciate. They know that I'm going to answer the phone. Real estate is such a time-sensitive industry. Everything is on the clock, from the moment they identify a property, from the time that we need to get a contingency removed or get an inspection done. I need for them to know that they are always going to have an answer in a timely manner so that they don't have to panic.
I'm going to guess that plays a large part in the success you've had. They know your level of commitment.
I think so.
Which is pretty high.
I think so.
All right. You're doing this and you go along and then you move over to Compass.
I did.
What was the draw? What made you want to join? Because Compass is relatively new in San Diego. They've 3 years now.
It is.
And it's been meteoric, the rise of Compass. But when you joined, they weren't even who they are now.
I think they were just really emerging into the metro area where I work heavily. I had been with a very prominent boutique firm for 12 years here in San Diego. And what I loved about that company was the culture. What I felt that it was lacking as it grew was the infrastructure and the technology. And I felt like I wanted a bit of a wider umbrella for a network. And so when Compass contacted me, they had all of it with a cherry on top.
With a cherry on top.
So it's been a really wonderful move for me.
So that maybe answers my follow-up question is, now you're here, a lot of times we're told things and then you get there, not living up to it. Have they lived up to it? Is there, now that you're here, now that you're on the inside?
Yeah, I would say for the most part, they've lived up to it. I came when Compass was in this incredible growth pattern here in San Diego. And there are always kinks to work out with all of that growth. But for the most part, I can't say I'm disappointed about anything. I'm incredibly pleased. And I love watching the continued growth of the company. I love the fact that my clients call me. They're traveling throughout the United States, and they'll text me pictures of Compass offices. They're like, "Gosh, you guys are everywhere." I said, "Yeah, we really are." And what I love is that it is one single owner or entity. We're not franchised. So this incredible network that we have access to is just astounding, and it's done amazing things for my business. I've sent referrals and received referrals like I've never had before.
Wow, that is really
It's been
awesome.
great.
And the owner, I mean, we're publicly traded, but Robert Refkin, who founded it, he had a very clear vision of what he wanted to do. And I find that most people like you I talk to, that vision fit you. That vision I want to be a part of.
Absolutely.
So now, do you have, maybe now or maybe when you were starting out, did you have an agent that you looked up to or you said, I like how they do business. I want to be like them. Was there anyone?
Well, the agent that I really looked up to is the agent that I worked for when I was in high school in Northern California. Her name was Youre Here. She's retired now. She's a dear family friend. I see her a couple of times a year, either when she comes down here or when I go up to Santa Rosa. And I just remembered watching her interaction with her clients. She was always on the go. She was so professional, but she was fun. And the words that I will never forget that she told me when I was her client was, because I was so surprised that she always had time for me. She was so busy. And she said, you know what, Megan, I want every single client to think that they're my only client. And that I carry with me every day.
That explains a lot about you and how you do your business. That did hit you hard.
It sure did.
I bet if we lined up your clients right now and put them in a room, they would be amazed how many are at the same time. They would never know how many people you're dealing with at once.
Maybe. They always try to get it out of me, but
Not giving that one up.
no.
So, a public perception. What's a public perception of real estate agents that you know to be false?
There's so many. That anything we say is a lie. I mean, I can't tell you how often I'm having conversations with clients. I've shown them a property or they're interested in a property and ask me to get more information, and I do follow up with the other agent and or with the homeowner themselves, depending on where the interaction is. And the party always questions whether what they're telling is the truth,
Wow.
particularly when I'm speaking with other agents. And so I often remind them that for realtors, hopefully 150% of the time we are working with realtors, we have a code of ethics that we're bound to. And so I have to trust that what they're saying is the truth.
For those who may not know, what's the difference between a realtor and a real estate agent?
A realtor is a member of the Realtor Association, and we are bound by the code of ethics. We agree to adhere to that. And a real estate agent is not. So there is no oversight whatsoever. And for that real estate agent, you don't know that you can trust what is happening or that they will act ethically. I'm sure many do. But it just gives us that added reassurance. There are also a lot of other benefits to being a realtor, but having served on Grievance and Pro Standards for many years within our association, I really think that that is probably the most valuable part of being a realtor.
Because you've seen when it's not being done right, and you've seen when people haven't held the line.
I do.
How important.
I do. Serving on those committees, it's always an education.
And so every realtor is a real estate agent, but not all real estate agents are realtors.
That's right.
Okay. Well, you probably can't go into it. I wonder if you can characterize the types of things you see when you're sitting on like a grievance board. Because I don't know that people realize how serious the industry itself takes policing itself.
Oh, gosh. Well, I will say, in light of the pandemic, there have been fewer hearings. But, I mean, there is oversight regarding how an agent advertises properties and how an agent advertises themselves. We want to make sure that the advertising of the property is honest and truthful. There is oversight regarding how an agent may treat a consumer. They're obligated to treat them fairly and honestly. So again, going back to that question that I'm asked by my clients, are you sure they're telling the truth? Yes, I'm sure they're telling the truth because they're a realtor and they're required to do that.
Right. They swore an oath
That's right.
to do it. All right. If you could take on a project right now, any project, and knew that you would not fail, what project would you take on?
Outside of real estate?
Up to you. It could be personal, it could be business.
Well, I will say I am about to take on a project of mentoring two newly licensed young men. I've mentored agents in the past, one at a time, never of this age range. I know them both personally, and I'm so very excited to see their excitement about getting into this industry. They're both in their early 20s. And so with that, the consideration for this project is also then to grow my team, which I have been an individual agent for 19 years.
Really?
So to even consider growing that team, it takes me a long time to process and go through the thoughts of what that would look like for me. But I do know that I cannot fail, and I do know that with my guidance, they cannot fail. And I'm really excited about what that's going to look like for them and what that's going to look like for me.
You really are. I'm sitting here. It's a genuine excitement.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. It is a wonderful industry, isn't it? It's hard work, I know, but it's a wonderful industry.
It is a lot of work, for sure. And it is incredibly rewarding, both just for you as for your growth as a human being, but rewarding financially, rewarding in terms of just enhancing your skill set, your communication skills, your written skills. There is so much to learn in this business, and it is ever evolving.
Right, never stops.
Never stops.
Megan, you can have dinner with any three people you want, living or dead, in the history of the world. Who would you have dinner with?
You know, you gave me a little sneak peek at the list, and this question I have been pondering for probably the last 3 days. I think that if I could have dinner with 3 people, the first person would be Marie Antoinette. The second person would be Oprah Winfrey. And the third person, I think, would be Vivian Lee.
Okay, I need like a little 10-second why for each one, because that's an eclectic group.
It sure is. It sure is. So Marie Antoinette, such an incredible figure in French and Austrian history. And I have always just been really intrigued with that era of history. And given my connection with the French, I just think that there is so much that we don't know about her life and what she endured. And she was an incredibly strong woman to have gotten to where she was. And I just would love to pick her brain and see her beautiful clothing. Vivian Lee, I think she was one of our unsung heroes. She is an actress who I think she got cut short in her business. She was incredibly smart. I loved her little drawl. And I just have always admired her. And Oprah Winfrey, oh my gosh. Talk about somebody who comes across as authentic and genuine throughout her entire life. And the longevity that she has had in her industry to be able to reinvent yourself while still remaining the same person. I just think there is so much to learn from somebody like that.
That would be an amazing dinner. It strikes me that you chose 3 people who are extremely strong people. They've each gone through personal things, and their inner strength carries them through, which probably tells us a lot about you. Strength matters.
It does.
Wow, I love that. That's the most varied group I've ever heard. Love that you spent 3 days thinking about it.
I did.
Okay, so in coaching, we often say the most important words in your world are any words that follow I am. So finish that statement for us. I am
Determined.
determined. You even said it with determination.
I am determined.
Fantastic. All right, I'm going to end with the 10 questions. We ask the same 10
Oh,
questions every
yes,
time
okay.
that I took from inside the Actors Studio. Megan, what is your favorite word?
I don't think I can say that on air.
Okay. Is it a multifunctional swear word?
Yes.
Okay. I think we can guess. Darn. It's probably darn, I'm guessing.
Yes.
What is your least favorite word?
Probably the same word. I find it very useful and yet very distasteful at times.
Well put. All right. What sound or noise do you love?
I love to hear the birds sing.
What sound or noise do you hate?
Probably like a lot of people, screeching nails on a chalkboard or anything like that.
If you could have one superpower, what would it be and why?
It would be to fly. And ever since I was a child, I have dreamt that I could fly. I used to have dreams that I was flying through the supermarket or flying in the sky. So
Wow.
I just would love to fly.
Those are great dreams, aren't they?
They
I've only had
are.
a couple, but
They are.
okay. How do you cure a hangover?
Oh, that's easy. I've done that. Coconut water and 3 Advil before you go to bed.
Before you go to bed,
That's right.
coconut water and 3 Advil. I'm going to write that one down. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
I always wanted to be an attorney.
Okay. What profession would you not like to do?
I really wouldn't like to be an engineer.
Very opposite of being a real estate agent.
That's right.
Where is your favorite spot in San Diego?
Oh, I thought about this one too. One of my favorite spots, there are so many, is in Point Loma at the top of the cliffs facing the city, so facing east. And any time of the year, it is the most amazing view that you will ever see of the water, the city, and the mountains beyond. And during the winter, you can even see snow on the mountains.
That's a really good view. All right, last question. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
That is such a loaded question. I think that I would like him to say that I held true to myself and my integrity without fail. I hope that's what he says.
I don't even have anything to say to that. That's amazing. That's what matters to you most, too.
Absolutely.
Wow. I loved doing this interview. I loved learning about you.
Thank you.
Very strong woman.
I loved learning about myself too.
Right. We all learn together. Ladies and gentlemen, Megan Beauvais.
Working on the plot and the scheme. The true style trademark is at the edge of your dreams. I'm talking one shot for the kill. The breeze cut, freeze up, straight dropping the chills. I'm talking taking over pieces and shares of all.